down on the lower side beside the church, and where we were at was the older part of the cemetery, which was up on the hill. And some of these tombstones you couldn't even read. For example, the one I mentioned about being around 1760 something, the date was almost all you could see, and it was almost like it just had been riddled with, best way to describe it is bullet holes. It just had all these little holes all over it.
Wow.
So, these were old tombstones and, very worn by weather and, just the elements themselves.
That's one of the best things, one of the best times that I've ever had in my life is when I visited parts of the East Coast and went to states like New Hampshire and neighboring states. And you go to those old cemeteries, and there's nothing like it. Now, I'm a California boy, born and raised, so we don't have stuff that old over here, at least not cemetery-wise. And so to go back east and to see that is just an amazing thing. You just kind of feel different out there, don't you? I mean, it just, and maybe I'm just crazy, who knows, but you feel different. Let me ask you about video evidence in addition to the EVP phenomena. Do you guys investigate and or try and capture things on video or photographs when you're investigating in cemeteries or haunted places?
Yeah, we definitely do. We've got, a huge range of equipment that we've purchased over the years, that includes video cameras, camcorders. We even use a high-definition camcorder. We've got, tons of digital cameras and even, a security system, 4-camera DVR that can record, with the night vision capabilities. And so, we set up all types of equipment and, try our best to catch anything we can because, like I said earlier, you never know when it's going to happen. So we try to cover everything with multiple cameras, recorders, whatever we can put out there, we're putting it out there. And, of course, we're also always trying to push some of the limits or experiment a little bit with some of this equipment as well because, nothing's solid in the paranormal. It's all theories.
Yeah.
And, there's no solid evidence. There's no saying, okay, well, if you do this with a digital recorder, this is how you're going to get EVPs. There's nothing like that. So you always have to continue to be creative. That's the big thing is try new things with your equipment, yourself, and, and what you're doing out there.
Now, how often do you guys go out and investigate the paranormal?
Well, it just depends on if somebody contacts us or if we get out there and contact somebody. And lately we've kind of been in a lull because the show has just really been taking off and it's taking up a lot of time. And we just had a meeting talking about some locations we wanted to go visit and whatnot. So it's, we don't, maybe once every couple months, sometimes 2-3 times. It just really depends on, how everybody's schedule's going and what we have going on. Outside of the group itself.
And that show is Shadows in the Dark, hosted by my guest today, Jeremiah Greer. Check him out online, www.shadowsinthedarkradio.com. Now, Jeremiah, is it only ghosts that you guys go out and investigate, or is it UFOs as well, or cryptozoology? What part of the aspect of the paranormal do you guys go out there with?
Well, it's mainly been ghost, and one of the reasons because it is much more accessible. If somebody has a haunted house, well, it's usually going to stay haunted for the most part, or it's going to happen over the duration that the family lives there. If it's affecting them, or it seems that haunt stays with it. And many of us have heard of houses that were haunted, and those stories live on. But when you get into things like UFOs and cryptozoology, especially, somebody has a UFO sighting, and that's really about as far as you can go with it a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
There is limitation with that in cryptozoology. Okay, somebody's seen a Bigfoot, you can go out and look for some tracks and stuff. But with, hauntings and ghosts, you can really go in there and visit the location multiple times and get stuff multiple times, not every time. So it's really the focus has been more on haunts and ghosts than anything else. And, it doesn't seem a lot of people around our area report UFOs and cryptids as much as they say, well, my place is haunted too. So that makes a difference as well. Definitely
a fascinating topic. We're talking to Jeremiah Greer, host of Shadows in the Dark, now syndicated on the Black Vault Radio Network. Bottom of the hour already. It's flying by with Jeremiah Greer. But don't go anywhere. Much more to come. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Black Vault Radio. I am your host, John Greenewald Jr., joined with Jeremiah Greer, the host of Shadows in the Dark Radio, now broadcast on the Black Vault Radio Network, or BVRN. Check out his show archives online at www.blackvaultradio.com And check him out online at www.shadowsinthedarkradio.com and his paranormal investigation group, www.easternparanormalinvestigators.com. Now, Jeremiah, thank you so much for joining me here on the Black Vault Radio. It's great to have you on, and also great to have you part of the Black Vault Radio Network. Now, let me ask you about the specifics of some of your investigations. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We got the broad overview. What kind of investigations, what kind of places have you gone to in your investigations, and what kind of things have you seen?
Well, we've investigated quite a few different places. We mentioned cemeteries earlier, and most paranormal investigators is where they get their start. I mean, they're easily accessible. But we've also investigated historic locations as well as private homes. We're looking at here soon probably doing some businesses as well that claim to have some paranormal activity going on. But now some of these historic locations we talked about was the one here locally, which is, now I can't say the exact name of the location, but it was in Waynesville, and it has to do with a lot of the family that really helped start up this area and whatnot. So and that was a very interesting investigation, and some of what we got there was the first time, that was actually the first building, let's say, that we got to investigate, and we got some EVPs there that were kind of creepy, that I guess you could call them negative, telling us to go away, you'll be next, things along those lines, and I mean, clear as day. And so, I mean, that can give you a little bit of a chill when you
Yeah, I would think so. Now, I know you can't give the specifics, but just to kind of make it a little bit clear, was this a house or a building?
It was a house.
It was a house, okay. So people were living there with these negative thoughts going around.
Well, let me rephrase that. It used to be a house. Now it's been turned into a business, but it used to be run as a bed and breakfast. It's changed hands many times, so... but, I mean, this isn't something you would call a business location in terms of, like, say, a strip mall or...
Gotcha, okay.
Or something like that. I mean, it was a house of a prominent figure around the area around the turn of the century.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now, in addition to the EVPs, and I mean, let me back up before we get away from that. You will be next was one of the messages that you got on your recordings. You will be next. What do you think that means?
That's something we have thrown around ever since we've been there, and I mean maybe around a year and a half, 2 years ago that this took place, and we have yet to figure that out. I mean, it was a very raspy female voice that said this, and I mean it was kind of drawn out, and it just it's like, gosh, what exactly are they talking about? And of course you can get into theories, that it's a time slip, or it was a spirit or a ghost that was there, and they weren't really talking to us. They were talking to maybe other spirits that were there. You really can get into the theories. And so, I mean, it was kind of a, like I say, a spooky, chilling kind of EVP to get. Now, the other one that I mentioned, the Go Away, that one was the most interesting one we got from that location, because it's the first time and the only time that the way that we got this EVP has ever happened. And I've talked to others about it who have said that, they have not heard of it happening in this manner. And what that was this was a 3-story house, plus you have an attic and a basement. Now, we had a recorder on the first floor. We had 2 recorders. Let me get it right. We had 2 recorders, one recorder and a camcorder on the second floor, and a cassette recorder on the third floor. And this Go Away EVP, we recorded on all 4 of those pieces of equipment.
Wow! At the same time?
At the same time.
Wow!
At the same volume. So it was almost like it had a presence throughout the whole house.
And that's a pretty amazing point, because some skeptics may argue, oh, it's static, and you hear what you want to hear, and you may be, if you tell somebody, hey, look, they're saying go away, and you go, oh wow, it says go away, but it could be like something in the static. That completely blows that theory out of the water. If you're getting this on 3 separate floors and multiple pieces of equipment, that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly, and that was one of the points that we always bring up about it. Because you do hear the skeptics say, well, you just picked up a rogue radio signal, or you're hearing what you want to. It's static. All that kind of stuff. But you say, okay, yeah, well, we got this at the same time, and, off of 3 floors and 4 pieces of equipment. Explain that one. I mean, did the radio signal come in and just bounce all over the place, or?